so we are going to do some fun stuff. I just want to make sure you can see my screen, because if I go, okay, cool. Okay, yeah, you can see my screen. Cool. Okay, so it's been a minute since I streamed, but we're back, baby. Okay, so today we're gonna do some level 8 Qs. As you already know, we always start with some code wars before we get into doing some React and all that fun stuff. So, okay, let's go ahead. Okay, so for this one, we're going to define a method stating hello that returns hello name to a given name, or says hello world if a name is not given, such as an empty string is passed. Then we're going to, so assuming that the name is a string and it checks for user typos to return a name with the first capital letter. Okay. So as you can see right here, if we pass in John, it's gonna return back hello John with the first letter capitalized. Hello Alice, despite like how a user, even if the user lowercase it or uppercase it, it's always gonna return back a very specific standard of the name. Alright, so what we're gonna do here is we're going to, okay, so we are gonna receive a string of letters, and then we're gonna return hello with the name. If they're hello with the name, else we're just gonna return hello world. Okay, so if I pass an example of Mark, we're gonna get hello Mark, because it's very particular order, making sure that M is always capitalized followed by the rest of the letters. So if that's the case, then we're gonna go ahead, and also if we get a 1 2 3 4, we should just return hello world, due to the fact, the reason why we're going to return hello world is because it's not a string, it's a number, so we're going to say hello world instead. Alright, so we're going to say, we're going to check to see if name is a string, then we're going to return, check to see if name is a string, then we'll return hello the name, where the first letter is capitalized followed by the rest of the characters in the word. Else we're gonna return a hello world. Okay, so if type name is equal to a string, then we're gonna say return hello name, and this is gonna be an F string that you can use. Else we're gonna say return F of hello world. Okay, hello John should be like this. World, excuse me, that's my fault. Hello world. Okay, like this. But wait, be right back. Okay, so let's go ahead and test this baby out. Okay, so yes. Okay, so now we're gonna do name that capitalize. I should be able to do it like that. How did they do it? Let me think. Hello name dot capitalize. Hello name dot capitalize. F, because I want to take it out of the F string. And the way to take it out of the F string, I need to take it out of the F string. Name is equal to name dot capitalize. We're gonna do it like that. Okay. Okay, yes, if type of name is string and length of name is greater than 0. Missing one require positional argument. What is this last one? Oh, because there was no name passed in. So to do that, if not name, we're gonna turn here. So, okay, so it's missing one positional argument. Missing, so there's no name, like that person didn't pass a name at all. I would have imagined this to have been thrown. Unexpected exception raise. Require one argument position. Yeah, because I was gonna go ahead, because within Python you can go ahead and throw these errors, these exceptions, but the way that this test is being done right now, it wants me to go ahead and return hello world. And if I'm gonna go ahead and return hello world, I'm not gonna throw an exception error. So if not name, return f of hello world. But even hello world is not getting passed at all. So missing one required positional argument. If that was the case, that would mean, if that was the case, it says hello. Hello. If it's empty, so if this is empty, this is what it is right here. But if nothing gets passed in, if not name, if nothing gets passed in, is less than 0. Length of name. I don't think it's length of name. I'm trying to figure this out. I don't think that's it either. Missing one. Type error Python. The hello define is defined to expect at least one argument, specifically the name. So this means that when the function is called, this because hello function was invoked without supplying a value for a name, this will raise the type error. So incorrect function calling. Print this will, because you didn't pass in a name to it. Because you didn't pass a name into it. Because you didn't pass a name into it. Because yeah, you didn't pass a name into it. You didn't pass a name into it. Hello was invoked, right? Because you didn't pass. To use this class, first create an instance like so. pp dot. I don't think it's because of my instance, though. If, how would you say that? If no name, the way I would say that if a name wasn't passed and if not name, they will return hello world. Then how come you didn't work though? If not name, how come? Because I'm trying to say that if there is no name passed in, if there was no name. Okay, so basically, if no name, that means that it was empty. An empty string, but if nothing was passed in, a name is equal to 0. Or, excuse me, got my JavaScript all mixed up there, but if, how would I say that? If there was nothing passing, if there was nothing passing, if the length is empty, if the string is empty, if array is empty, if not named, then we're going to return that correct. Otherwise, what we're going to do is we're going to check to see if it's a string, and we're going to return this. But how to check if argument was not passed in Python? If arg, if name, if name is none, okay, where is you? If not name or name is none, oh, that didn't pass it. Okay, let me, if name is none, then we're gonna return. I want to make sure to check if this will fix our last one. Okay, nope. How to check for none? If blank is none, you can return. If name is none, if name is null, if name is none, if name is null, if name is, if not name. If there is an argument, do this. If no argument is sent, you should set the argument as none. Check if it's passed or not. Continue reading. If optional is none, then you're gonna return, because we're saying if name is none, then you should return. Why does this one still get mad? Because you're missing one required positional argument. I understand we're missing it. I understand that we're missing it, but then if the name is none, if name is none, if name is none, yeah, so you're seeing a type error. I completely understand because there's not a name that gets passed in. But I did say that if the name is none, how do you resolve Python? You need to ensure that the function is called with the correct number. Check the function definition. Print cat, return. Part 1, part 2, part 1, part 2. I don't think I am missing like a string itself. Whoops. Is it self? I don't think it's self that it's looking for. I don't think it's self. How to you, if name is none, okay, so if the parameter, if there's nothing past it, I would anticipate it to say hello world. Because this is basically saying, hey, you didn't pass anything in. Test answer equals, if blank, then hello world. Test that hello world pipe. Test that soft answer equal. The hello function must be defined to return a specified string. How to pass this test? Python. Return hello world. So there's a line defined as hello correctly. Return hello world. This function, are you not? Function is called hello. Yes. And then you're saying the name. Hello name or world. I did a few times. This is a perfect solution where I agreed. Capitalize G. I don't think that would be it. Nope, I am looking at this one. Python. That's it? Okay. So the reason for this is saying that if you don't pass it anything, and in order to pass it, you have to say an empty string. And that should be able to take care of the last one. Okay, so it's never none. That's what I was thinking. It should just be this. So essentially you make the name defaulted into an empty string. Oh, see. Talk about time and space just for fun. Okay, it's yelling at me. Interesting. Time and space. So space-wise, it will be constant for only one name that we are going to go ahead and display. Time-wise, bless me. But time-wise, it is gonna be a constant as well, because we're gonna go ahead and just put down one name or an empty string. So I was just gonna check at one input at the moment. You could definitely do it into one string like that. You could definitely do that too. Let me add it here and click commit. Okay, so I wanted to go ahead and do this one all about money, 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 money. And so Mr. Scrooge has a sum of money, P, principal, that he wants to go ahead and invest. But before he does, he wants to know how many years this sum of P has to be kept in the bank in order for it to get to a certain amount of money desired. So the sum is kept for this X amount of years where the interest is paid out yearly. So after paying taxes, so let's talk about it. So we're going to receive all integers, and some are, so they look like they're all floating numbers, and floating numbers are basically anything with decimals. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead, return the years it will take to turn principal amount into desired amount. So we have, for an example, we have $100. Say we get interest on it for like 10%, and then our tax is about like 10%. But we desired it to be 500. How long will it take us to get to 500 years? Or sorry, not 500 years, but how long will it take for, will it take for $100 with all the interest and the tax to go ahead and achieve to 500 years? How many years will that take? So that makes me think I need to go initialize a years variable. I need to go ahead and state and do like a loop. I need to loop through, I was gonna say I'm gonna loop to an infinity amount, because you can definitely, the way I think about it is I know that I need a loop, but how much do I need to loop up till until I get to that desired amount, which I'm not sure about. But one thing I can definitely do is do a while loop. So that while loop, while principal is still less than desired amount, so while the principal amount is still less than the desired amount, we are going to go ahead and add 1 to our years. We are going to calculate the interest owed and the interest accrued and the tax owed on the money. Then we're going to return our years. Then we're going to go ahead and exit our loop if our principal is ever greater than our desired amount. Then we're going to go ahead and return our years. So years is equal to 0 right now, while principal is less than desired. We have to say years plus equal 1. So we're going to go ahead and increment that year, and now our principal amount is equal to principal times our interest minus principal times interest times tax plus principal. And then we're gonna go ahead and return years. Oh no, I broke it. Okay, but let's see. Okay, yep, I broke it. So principal is equal to sum is for y years where interest is paid out yearly. So principal times interest, this is going to be our interest amount that we're going to get from it. And you have to go ahead and pay out the taxes after the new sum is reinvested. So principal is equal to whatever the interest is, the principal times the interest. Sorry, hold on for a second. Okay. So we are gonna add it all back plus here, all back into that principal amount. Oh no, I rugged it again. Okay, so let's figure out where and why this is happening. Years is equal to 0, and while our principal amount is still less than our desired, we're going to go ahead and say years. Let's go ahead and increment. So principal, let's keep adding to our principal, and our principal is going to get updated to a new amount where that principal balance is going to be added to this. So these two should be added together, and then that amount will be subtracted from here. Principal times the interest. Principal times the interest. Instructions says, before he does that, he wants to know how many years. The sum is equal, let me pull up a calculator here. Calculator. Okay. So this one is equal to 1,000 times our interest of 0.05, which is 50. So this is 1,000 right now. So this one is equal to nothing right now, and plus the 50. So we get an amount of $50 of interest. So we add that, but now we have to go ahead and subtract times 0.18. This one should be $9 minus 9. So 1041. So this person is saying 1,000 plus 50, and then we want to minus $9. See, and that's how we got 1041. And so then principal plus principal times the interest. This one got us our 50. Our principal times the interest times tax. $50 minus 9. And why did you not like that though? 50. Okay, principal times interest. We're gonna subtract that out from here. Because I know that in the rules with computing, PEDMAs are very crucial, so the order operation does matter. So I am trying to see principal, and then 50. Principal times the interest. 1,000 times 0.05, which is $50. Yes. And then now we want to multiply this times 0.18, which gives us our $9. Principal times interest times tax. And if I separate them out, I want them to go ahead and multiply these and do it themselves. Is it because I have it like that? Nope, I don't think that's why either. Wait, hold on a second.
Okay, we're back, baby. Okay. I know the view looks a little different, so hopefully you're okay with that. Okay, so I was like, what the heck? P-R-I-N-C-P-O. It matters to spell right, so yes. Okay, so the fact that I couldn't just spell the principal, but yes. So we're going to say years is equal to 0. So while the principal amount is still less than desired, then we're going to go ahead and keep looping and keep going. And we're going to add to our years. So we're going to figure out the new principal amount, and then it's going to go back and keep looping until the principal is actually greater than the desired amount. That's when we know we can exit the loop and return years. Time, this will be and because I can see just looping and keep going for a while because the years could keep increasing. Space wise, O of 1 because we're not keeping any additional data structures in memory. We are just going ahead and just utilize like years is the only thing that we're keeping in memory, but we're not doing anything else. So this is what I am going with for my time and space. Feel free to let me know if you have any other thoughts about time and space as well, but this is what I'm going through with time and space here. Okay, and add it in money. Get push. Okay. So I just want to do one more AQs, and then we can definitely do something else too. So number ending with zeros, we're going to go ahead and remove it. The way I think about removing these, the way I think about removing is, so we're going to receive an integer, positive or negative, and we need to return a new integer if a 0 is at the end. So say for instance we got 100. Bless me. So say for instance we got 100. I would anticipate that to knock out the whole entire zeros. This one should be 1. Yeah, this one should be 1 because based off of this example right here,
it keeps knocking out the zeros because we don't want any zeros at all. So we want it to be this. So based off of that statement, let's go ahead and check. We can slice out. The way I think about like returning a new integer is slicing. So that if the last num is 0, if the last num is 0, if the last num is 0 and the length is greater than 1, then we're gonna go ahead and slice it off. Then we're gonna go ahead and slice it off. Oh, this is a level 8. Typically level 8 is a little easier with like methods. So let's see. Are there any methods I can use? I know that in JavaScript there is like a .ends with, but I don't know about in Python. .ends with Python. Okay, so there is one, but it's only for strings. That's not what we're gonna do. The number 0, length is greater than 1. I'm trying to think if I need to convert it into a string and work with the string easier. Because strings typically have a lot more methods that you can work with. I'm thinking I am gonna need a string to convert it into a string. I am gonna convert it into a string, I've decided. Okay, so to convert it into a string, let's go ahead and do convert num to string, and then now we're gonna go ahead and split the string. Now we're gonna check to see, well, we don't really need to split. We can convert the num to string. We're gonna check if the last num is 0 and the length is greater than 1. Then return the num back as an integer. If the last num is 0 and the length is greater than 1, then let's go ahead and slice it off. Do I want to slice it off? Well, let's go with this right now. So string num is equal to string of n. And this will convert it into a string. Print string num. 1450. I assume it is in string, despite not having like a quotation. So I assume it's string. So now what we're gonna do, string of num is equal to string num. Now let's iterate backwards. So for num in range length of string num minus 1, so we're gonna start at the end, -1 over -1. We're gonna keep going. If num is equal to, this is gonna be a string, this is gonna be an index, so we need to grab the value, and the value is if string num of num equals 0, string num is equal to 0, then we will slice new string. Let's go to this. The new string is, the last num is equal to 0. The new string is equal to string num all the way up until the index of num. And we're gonna return new string, but as a number, int as in number. An exception has been raised. There's no boarding zeros. 1450, 1450. Let's print and see. Print new string. None should equal, New string should be equal to string of num all the way up until none though. Interesting. That means, let's see, print string of num. String num. Print. Let's console.log this. String num is equal to this. So it's like my string num never went through. Let me print this. Oh wait, would it be, okay, so it would be a string of 0. Line 18. $14.50. So okay, so it's going down multiple times. So string num is 0. Print string num is 1450. But now I want to see what you are. You should be able to grab me the value. Yes. Perfect. That's what I'm looking for. And now it should be able to go through. And now it should be able to print 1450. So it looks like it's doing all the right things thus far. Unindent is not. Okay, so my indentation is off. Okay, just making sure that it's all indented correctly. We want to make sure it's indented correctly. So okay, so this one is going to keep going and it's going to keep looping through all of the numbers all the way until the very beginning is what's going to happen here. Oh, that's a good question. Okay, so if the length, numbers doesn't have length, a string does. So what I'm going to do is the length of string num equals 1 and length and string num of 0 is equal to a 0, then we're just going to return 0. That should help with this test case. Yes. But okay, so now, so my concern with this is that yes, I do want it to keep going all the way till the very end, but I don't want it to keep going if it's not a 0. But because if it's a 0, I'm only concerned about zeros at the end. If I'm only concerned with zeros at the end, if string of num is equal to 0, then we're just going to go all the way up till that number. Else, if it's not a 0, then we're going to say couldn't I do that? That would stop the for loop with a base of 10. Because I'm saying that if you are equal to 0, do this. If you are equal to 0, do this. I feel like there's an easier method than this. How to check if there are zeros. How to check if there are zeros in Python. How to check if there are zeros. How to check if there are zeros at the end in Python. That ends with... Okay, so that ends with is my best bet. Ooh, R strip. This removes specific trailing characters from a string. So by comparing the string, oops. Find out how many 0 has been at the end. No, not. I wouldn't say that. I would say this is great, beautiful, but let's figure out a method. I feel like there is something that can make it shorter. So we're gonna say if string of num dot, because we're gonna do that ends with, because it's gonna be a string, because numbers aren't really good to work with, so strings are a little bit better to work with, and now we can use that ends with. That ends with a 0. If it ends with a 0, what do I want to do? If it ends with a 0, I want it to keep looping. I wanted to remove it. Go all the way up. A string num that ends with a 0 does not. If does not. We're gonna say return int of string num. How to return a new number. Whoa. I don't know if this level 8 was like that though. Was level 8 like that? No, I don't think so. Code Wars, Python. You're gonna slice up to the last one and keep going, and then n is gonna equal this new number. I was almost there, friend. If it does equals that, then string of num is equal to string of num all the way up until the last number. Otherwise, if it ends with a 0, then we're going to go all the way up until the last one. So this is inclusive, this is exclusive. And that's going to keep happening. So while n is equal to 0, so this is going to say that if it does, while string of num ends with 0, then we're going to say this. Making sure my indentation are okay. Then we're going to return int a string num, because we should be able to exit the loop when it doesn't end with a 0. Attribute has no attribute. A string ends with. Ends with. Interesting. I have to look into that, because why wouldn't it? While string of num is greater than 0, Is it greater than 0? I thought it would be greater than 0. While the length of string of num is greater than 0, we're going to say that if the ending we're going to say that if string of num of the last one, -1, is equal to 0, it doesn't work like that. While n minus 1 is equal to 0, while length of this is equal to 0, length of string of num, that's me, while length string of num so basically, okay, so I'm re-summarizing what I just learned right there. So it's saying that while the length is equal to the string of n is equal to a string, yes. So n is equal to a string, and we're gonna say that if the last one is equal to 0, then string of num is all the way there. Otherwise, return the end of. But I need to keep looping though. Yes. While is equal to a string of 0, then we're gonna keep doing that, and we're gonna keep slicing off. And then we're gonna while the string of the last one, is it not the last one? While the last one is equal to 0, while the last one, oh, okay, doesn't care about that. So while this last one is equal to 0, the string of num should be equal to slicing it off, because you want to keep going all the way until the end. Then you're gonna do is return it as an integer. That's interesting. Okay, so while the string of num, if n is equal to 0, then return 0. Return 0, else is. While string of num is equal to a 0, then you're gonna keep going. And string of num is equal to this. Then we're going to return end of string of num. But the string of num is going to be a new variable versus this n right here. They're going to be manipulating the input in place. So, but why didn't? Let's just see else. Okay, but I'm not gonna submit this. I want to come back to it because I am gonna keep working on it. And then Algo, get push. Okay, be right back. today in our new one. Okay, so I wanted to go ahead and but anyways, what I wanted to do is do some front end work with you guys. So right here for this FAQ component, it should take me only 30 minutes. I'm gonna see how far I can get within 30 minutes. I haven't timed myself yet, but I guess I can start timing myself. I want to think about this as if like I'm getting ready for like a front end interview itself. I want to go ahead and make sure that I time myself correctly, know what I'm asking, looking for, and can get it done in 30 minutes. So let's do this. Okay, so I think typically in a interview setting they probably have like the repo and everything all set up for you. Maybe we'll do it in a CodePen, sandbox. We're gonna do it in a code sandbox, and we're gonna do a separate one. Be my name. We're gonna create another one. We're gonna create a React. This one we'll call it FAQ component. Okay, so let me make sure everything's working. Okay, so I'm gonna do it side by side. I'm gonna do it side by side like this, and I'm gonna do it right here as well. Okay, and let me do a 30-minute timer. We're gonna do a 30-minute timer. Okay. 30-minute timer. Okay, so it's starting right now. Okay, so let's go ahead and read it through quickly. I like to write down notes, my.md. So in this markdown, we'll go ahead and write down what we're looking for. So in this file, these should be rendered in the FAQ component where clicking any question reveals the answer and clicking again will hide it. So for sure, in my head, I see toggle. I see a action piece for toggle where clicking on questions reveals answer, and then clicking on questions will hide it. And here, FAQ component will receive list of questions. In JS object format. Each question from the object should be displayed with an adjacent chevron. So we're going to need card should have a adjacent chevron. The first card should be revealed by default. Should be revealed by default. Okay. So we're gonna go ahead and create this frequently asked component. Okay, so instead of okay, so we're gonna say this one's gonna be called. So I'm gonna make this header right here, frequently asked questions. And we're gonna leave it as is. What's most important is just the cards itself. And as you can see, this first card is gonna be displayed. So let's go ahead and make our card. Okay, so we have an app. I was gonna make like a component folder, but for the sake of this, we're just gonna say, we'll call it card.tsx. And in this card, you're gonna get, do I wanna pass props? I think I do. Interface props, card props. Interface card props. They're gonna be one word. And we're gonna have the question, which is a string. Then we're gonna have an answer, which is a string as well. they will always have a question in the string, so they're not any optional matters. Okay, how many? So they're not any. Okay, 27 minutes, perfect. Okay, so they're not any. They're not optional because they are always required. Otherwise, I would put like a Q in front of it if it was optional. Otherwise, we're gonna say export const card. It's gonna take in our question and our answer from the card props. I think I do that right, props. And then we're gonna say that return the div, and in the div it should be in the div, let's do a border, let's do a class name, and we're gonna have a border, and the border color, border color 500, because it has a border. I'm paying attention to a border. I wanted to have a border. I guess you can talk about like you can think about like margin bottom, margin top, and all that stuff. Let's do like margin top. Maybe margin top 5. Margin top is 5. We're gonna do something like this, just so I can have like an idea of like the border background. And then we're gonna go ahead and render our questions in our answer. And I'm trying to think, do I need to render? This is just our card right now, question. And then we're gonna render our answer. I want to see, and then okay, so they gave us an array of answer and objects, so we're gonna keep this, and then we're gonna I think I want to go ahead and place it as an API. Let's go ahead and do it as like an API, because typically APIs are an array of objects. And then FAQ API. I don't know if you're can I do it like that? But we're gonna do it like that, and we're gonna iterate through every, I want to see, because we're gonna import card. And this one should be card. You're missing a syntax error. It's missing an initializer. Card. Why it would not be like? Okay, so something between here. Okay, so card, you're missing. Okay, cannot read properly a message of objects and text. Missing initializer and const declaration. We're missing it in here. Interface, const card. Okay, the underscore, the squiggly things. Okay, I just want to put down a hi. Okay, perfect. Okay, but why does my border not want to come through? My border. Black. Okay, so okay, my border is not working right now, but we'll come back. But at least a hi in my card is getting registered. And then now I want to go ahead and map through every question of the card. Let's see. How am I doing on time right now? 23 minutes. Okay, perfect. Let's see. Okay, so I have the questions and things. Questions and objects. So now I needed to go out here. I needed to come out here and fetch the questions and the answers. So I needed to come out here and fetch from here and then render it into the card. And the way I think about doing that, I would do it in the parent component. And I think about a parent component, and it will pass in the properties into the card. So I think about a parent component, and I would use, can I use a use effect here? Import you. I would think about import use state use effect. Can I do React from here? I should be able to. I should. I think about holding state. I think about fetching out to use effect. Interesting. Why is it not like it? I was thinking that you can do a use effect. It's gonna go fetch out to my FAQ API. It's gonna go ahead. Feel free to let me know if you would do it any differently as well too. I was thinking that it would go out and fetch out to my APIs. FAQ.api, how to call API files in Code Sandbox. I'm pretty sure that's right. Code Sandbox 2207. 2207. Code Sandbox. For some reason, like, I don't feel right with it. It's FAQ API. FAQ API. Why does it not like FAQ APIs? Calling API files can mean a few things depending on what you're trying to do. I am trying to find an API and I'm saying, hey, here are my API, like, but typically this would be like your JSON object that you receive back. So if that's the case, couldn't I just make it into like a promise? Couldn't I say this is equal to I want to do it here. Couldn't I just do it here inside of couldn't I just do it here? Question is to string answer, and then we're gonna say set it to a state of because couldn't I do it here that inside of the card app, couldn't I import FAQ, import facts? I'm gonna name this object, couldn't I say, but you will have to export constant in order to share it amongst other import files. Export cons, card. My naming convention. Is this my naming convention? Export const QAs APIs. Oh, that wouldn't make sense. I want to make sure that it's intuitive, mnemonic, so it's something that makes sense when a person can pick it up. Facts. Maybe we'll call it facts API equals. So that way it can be shareable by doing the import. So I can go ahead and import that. Import. I called it facts. Maybe I won't call it FAQ. Rename facts. So I'm gonna say import facts. API. Okay, so it won't import. Let me grab my charger quick. less than 17 minutes ago. Okay, so but my import facts is not coming through. Export cons facts. Okay, maybe I had to do it like an API, or not like an API, but its own separate card. If I'm gonna do it like its own like separate card, export facts equal, I have to do it like a function. So do it like a function, and you're gonna do it as this is equal to this, and it's gonna return this, and it's gonna say. That's horrible because that doesn't make sense. What if I, instead of doing that, can I comment it out? Okay, it doesn't comment out, but how about I just delete it? Okay, delete it. That's okay. That we delete it. We're gonna say right here that our facts API is equal to this. We're gonna say that you're right here. Perfect. And now we're gonna go ahead and render through question and answer. Ooh, I was gonna say let's go ahead. So basically you're gonna map through each one of them, each question, each answer to go ahead and show them. But my only concern, okay, but we're just gonna have map through the question and the answer. We're gonna map through each, because what could I do it like this? $15, 20 minutes. Okay. Export cons card. Question and answer, yes. Okay, so this one is bolded as well. This one's gonna be H1. Close it. We're gonna make sure that your class name is equal to bold. So you're gonna be bolded. Okay, so question. And now I need to render through the facts XP. Export card. Export cons card list is equal to what are we returning? We're returning a div, closing it up, and in that one we're gonna say how many times do we have left. We're gonna use a card, and then in the card we're gonna go ahead. How many times do I have? 13 minutes. Okay, in the card we're gonna say that we're gonna map through facts. We're gonna say that in the card we're gonna go ahead. Card is already registered from okay, that's not good, but we're gonna say that facts API dot map through, and we're gonna map through the map and the index, or sorry, not the map, but the I don't want to use question because I already used question right above, so I don't want to use question. Hello set, we'll call it set. So set of questions and answers, and here we're gonna go ahead and say that here within card they will always have an index, because the way to make sure that they are unique, you need to make sure that it is unique. Index facts is this is equal to facts, or this is equal to index. Question is equal to set dot question. Answer is equal to set dot answer. Okay, but how many times did I left? 12 minutes. Okay, And capture card list is not defined. Card list. Okay. Okay. So we I gotta remove our high. Okay, so that's gnarly. But okay, so a chevron. That reminds me. Okay, so we need to go ahead and also. Okay, so I don't like how all of this is hanging out. So let's go ahead and do a card list right here and put it in its own separate one. So in this card list, we are going to import card from, yes. And here, let's go ahead and say that you are this. Perfect. And perfect. Save. In app, we are doing card list from card list. Perfect. Okay, so now I don't know how to do a chevron in sandbox. How many times? Chevron. Because it says it's looking for a specific chevron in the but when I think also chevron, how to do chevron in sandbox, how to do a chevron sandbox, how to do a icon. That's what I'm looking for. Icon. Can I import it from here? I should be able to, because in the card list. No. Okay, come back. Yes. Okay. How many? Okay, 10 minutes. I'm still okay on time. Okay, so I can do it like this. Hopefully I can. Like I want you. And here. I'm trying to think. Do I want it in the card? I think I want it in the card because the styling of the card is what matters to me. And if I look at you, you're gonna be right before my question. So you are going to be right interface. Nope, you would be actually you'd be up here. Oh, you can't find it. Okay. Can I use SVG for a moment? Will you let me use SVG? Okay, that's crazy. Okay, we don't need one that big. Duration, rotate. No, that's ugly. Okay, I'll come back and fix it because I really want to make sure I can get enough more time in 8 minutes. But anyways, okay, so let's see. Horrible. But digress. Let's keep moving forward. So we're gonna do a chevron. Okay, so now I think about the toggle. Like I need to add in a toggle, and I want that to be part of the card props, and I want that to be part of it here. So we're gonna say that in here here I want it to hold state as well. State. Import use state from React, and in this React we're gonna say toggle set toggle. This is gonna be a boolean. Set it to a boolean, and we're gonna set it to false right now. And then what we're gonna do here is we're gonna say false is not defined. False with the F. Okay, perfect. Sorry, in my head, I think false and true are typically usually capitalized. Okay, 7 minutes left to go, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna say the handle toggle, const handle toggle. It's not gonna accept anything is equal to this. Whoops. And it's gonna say that we're gonna set toggle do the opposite of whatever toggle is. So once they click on it, they should be able to toggle. Ooh, if it's based on that chevron. Ooh. Border box, sandbox, sandbox, code. How to make border in sandbox. Pretty sure it's border. How to style border in sandbox for HTML. Border style. So border style. Border width, border background color. We don't need a background color, but I'm thinking about the width, the sizing. Border style. Maybe we have a border style. Nope. Dash. Okay, it's okay. Because I only have like 5 minutes, and I feel like I've almost done a lot. I was able to go ahead and render it. I could have rendered it a lot better, for sure. But we're gonna set toggle, and now I need to go ahead. Okay, so I have this, and every time they click on the SVG, they should be able to go. Every time they click on the SVG, they should be able to go ahead and close it. But by default, the first one is already open. Okay, let me just get it working first. Let me just get it working. So let me get it, make sure that it toggles. So SVG, with the SVG, do I want to do SVG? Is there another icon, logo that I can go ahead and use? No, I don't want to use a kit though. Okay, how to do chevron icon in code sandbox. I'm not really well versatile in code sandbox. I'm more of like a VS Code person, but I should still be able to do it though. Do I need to download that though? Let's see. Do I need to download you? Ooh, yeah, I think I need to download you. How to do a chevron icon in code sandbox? How do I get a code sandbox of you? Can I just copy you? I don't know if I could ever do it in a code sandbox. Maybe it's better if I just do it. Maybe I need to do it in a. Okay, so I decided. Yes, hi Elder. Long time no talk. No, I'm trying to figure this out. I'm trying to do this like front end assessment work, and I get 3 minutes left on my timer, and I need to do a chevron. As you can see right here, they have a chevron. But where can I get a chevron for code sandbox? Yes, no, I realized code sandbox might not be my forte, and I might not do it anymore. I need to stick to what my forte is, and that's more of VS Code. Yeah, so what I have here thus far is I have a frequently asked question. So far it kind of looks almost like it. I mean, I could modify the font as well. But I'm trying to do a chevron here. Once you click it, it can switch, as you can see. And then, so I have a toggle that will open and close it. But I need, I need to add my handle toggle. I need to handle my toggle. But I've never done it with the SVG to handle a toggle. Oh my goodness. Okay, let me figure it out quick. Can I add a handle toggle to SVG in code sandbox? Yes, you can add to SVG elements using JavaScript. So you can. I just need to see a quick example of it. Import SVG. How I track down their GitHub browser repo. Import image for SVG. Import trash. Okay, so you're gonna do it like this: image source. Because where would I add a handle click? Oh no! Okay, 1 minute and 41 seconds. Can I add a chevron? Oh, wait. Yeah, no, okay, I don't think I'm gonna make it in a minute, which is okay, because I am happy with where I ended up, but I just need to figure out this chevron. But I'm gonna take a little quick break. I'll be right back.